Lisa and Robyn are two fun friends diving deep into conversations where nothing is taboo. They believe in eating dessert before dinner and wearing the bikini. They're allergic to labels, authority, and cheap shoes. Currently, they're launching themselves through life being the good time, bold enough to take risks and inquisitively asking, what's next? They hail from New Hampshire, but they could be anywhere dressed in cute clothes. If they had to share a tombstone, it would read, "Curiosity killed these cats." Your hosts, Lisa and Robyn on the mic.
Welcome to Lisa and Robyn on the mic. You are listening on WSMN, 1590 AM, 95.3 FM. You can watch, stream, and listen on WSMN.live, Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify, Hr2, all the fun places. We are dressed up as Gilligan's Island, Ginger, and Marianne today. We are costumed up. Erica and Steve Sylvester shared on our Facebook page that they are Bob Ross in a canvas.
Oh my gosh, and it was so cute.
It was
thank
so
you,
good.
thank you for sharing. So if anybody has their costume today, please share.
Or share your
Let's
kids'
have some
costumes,
fun.
too.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Or your dog's costume.
Yes, your dog's costumes.
Yes, or your cat's.
Or your cat. I wanted to buy Bosco.
Or your gerbil, or
Yeah, I wanted to buy Bosco bat wings because he's all black.
Oh.
And I saw
Oh my
that.
gosh, yes.
That would look so cute. I don't know how he'd feel about it. I've never costumed.
Oh my gosh.
Costumed
Well,
him.
my
up.
daughter sent me one a while back on Instagram. There's a cat that looks like Milo that has a lion's mane, and he goes and gets it every single morning and wants to.
It makes his mom put it on him.
Yes. Have you seen that one?
I shared it with you. I
Oh,
think.
you did?
I'm the one who shared it with
Oh
you.
my God, so
because
cute.
When I need to feel better, I watch that cat go and fetch his own
I know.
lion's mane. Like, you know what I'm feeling? I'm feeling lion today.
I love dress up. I think we should do it. I think we should do like a month of doing dress up.
Okay.
I don't know what it would be, but
Well, we have a number of guests coming on this month.
I got a lot of hard looks this morning walking down the road, and I'm like, I'm just going to put my sunglasses on.
You know what New Englanders say?
It's
You can't be
invisible.
wearing shorts
Right.
at this time of the year.
I'm like, it's 69.
69 degrees out. It is.
So I have a question going back
Yes.
to what we were talking about.
The neurodivergent or ADD/ADHD.
Well, just not being
brain.
our authentic selves.
Oh,
like,
okay,
who,
yes.
Are you the same person in the dark as you are in the light?
I'm moodier in the dark.
Do you,
I can almost have the equivalent of mood swings. They're mostly weather dependent, but I can be, and my humor is dark. So the only way I kind of get out of, sometimes I know I'm extra moody if my humor is extra dark. You know,
it's me too.
yeah. So I don't know. I will try not to be moody in public.
But at least you're aware of it.
Yeah, because I don't want to, I feel this way. I don't want to throw it on you.
Yeah.
You might be having your own bad day. I don't need to add I do try. I'm not always successful.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of people that are like so different in the daytime versus the nighttime, or being seen in public versus private. And I wonder
I hope I'm not that different. What about you?
I don't think I'm that different.
I don't think so either.
Because I feel like, I think you've known me. You know me. When I hit something, I feel like I'm open until I hit a hard line, and then I'm like, nope. I don't negotiate those. I've never negotiated those. I'm trying to think of, something that goes against my grain. Then I will speak up. I don't say exactly what's on I try not to say it the way it forms in my head because it is dark. So I do try to say something instead of just pretending that I'm not. I was trying to give an example of,
Oh, like, so when I didn't know what the condition of my place was in Florida, I have a property management company, a rental company, but they were also down. They weren't communicative because their systems were down. Their office was underwater. They had no computers.
Right.
So they were quiet. And, I'm trying to hold it together here. And, big guy walks in and he's like, hey, whatever. And he's trying to talk and he's like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, I'm in a mood. Just
Yeah.
I have no way of undoing this mood until I have information.
Yes.
I don't like being in the dark. I don't like the unknown. And most people are like that. We want certainty of some kind. The weird part about me is I'd almost rather have bad news than the unknown news of
Yes.
not knowing.
I think most people are like that. It's the fear of not knowing. I think even about relationships.
Yeah, if
You know,
you're
it
in the
sucks
middle
that
of a
it's going to
relationship.
end, but you know, it's that hanging on. It's holding your breath. It's being caught in a pause. You can't move forward. You can't do anything.
And
you
I'm
can't heal. You can't get over it. You can't do anything with you're in limbo.
Yes, because I would rather take action on something, even if it's I don't like that when people say, well, just wait.
Yeah.
Wait? I'm not a waiter.
Yeah, me either.
I'm not a waiter.
I'm going
That's-
to push that needle forward.
Well, I'm going to do something, even if it's the wrong thing, just because I feel like I need to be doing something. I am not a very, very patient person. So when you have, just wait a week or two to see what will happen, and I'm like, maybe I'll make something happen.
Yeah, I know.
I don't like I'm not a good waiter. And that is part of my basic personality. I'm not a good waiter. Now you add in a business in which everybody wants everything done yesterday, and you only exacerbate the part of yourself that doesn't wait. So I have it in my personality, and now I have an outside source demanding that part of me always be on, because that's the best part of me in my job.
Yeah.
You know, no one wants to wait a year and a half for their place to sell. They wanted it sold yesterday.
Yeah.
So that's what makes me good at my job, is I have urgency all the time. So when you go into a supermarket or you go somewhere and people aren't waiting on you and they haven't even made eye contact with you, and they're in their 8-hour shift. So this is going to take as long as it's going to take. Even when I was in that job, it was let me get you out of here.
Yes.
I don't want to see.
Yes.
I don't want to see you looking at me.
Yes.
Let me get you out of this line. Even if you don't have any urgency.
See, I love
I
efficiency.
had urgency.
Yes.
Yes.
I like to stack I like to stack my life like that. Like, it's like even doing the dishwasher, because I don't like to do it. So I'm gonna do it in such a way that it takes the least amount of movements to
You
get
don't
it
even
done.
use it. You just wash the dishes.
Yeah.
I was just with you for a week, and I'm like, she hasn't put one thing in the dishwasher. I just want to use the dishwasher, and she's washing everything. Before I even come back, it's like, that dish is clean. And it's like, I was going to reuse that. She didn't have to wash it yet.
You can get it again.
And then I'm like, we haven't used the dishwasher once, which was, then that made me start washing stuff, because I'm like, I could almost just wash this quicker, because we didn't do dishes. We ate out.
Yeah,
So the
and
few
it
dishes
was
we
a plate
had,
here and a plate
yeah.
there, and I'm like, it's not really worth it to do, And to me, it was like, I don't know, maybe that's just small-minded mentality. Like, I don't want to run the dishwasher when there's only like 4 things in the dishwasher.
Yeah. So
And
I think
then
that's
I'm
funny.
like, it's got to sit there. That cup's got to sit there.
And to me, I would rather have the cut sit there and let the dishwasher wash it.
Yeah.
Even though I
I
hate
mean, I am
loading and
better about it.
unloading.
Yeah, it depends on the volume of it.
Yeah.
But and I don't even think Chris truly appreciates, like, he does. I do appreciate him. He does the dishes after dinner 98% of the time. But every time he does it, like, I've already cleaned up everything. So the only thing he really has to clean up is our plates and like put everything back that we've taken out, and if we've left something out. But again, I try to be efficient, and I'm going to have everything done. So the only thing that's left is our silverware and our whatever we ate with.
And that efficiency, day in and day out, tires me. It overwhelms and tires me to have to be efficient in every single moment in everything I do. I find that, like, because what it is for me is I can do it for a period of time, and then my brain just doesn't want any more rules. It doesn't want any more routine. It doesn't. It just throws a tantrum. And then I, even when I'm like organizing my closet, I take everything out, and then the part of my brain that's like, whew, this is going to be a lot to put back together, and just wants to leave it. So
Yes.
I think if you don't have that brain, we don't make sense to you. But you're living
That's
with
true.
someone with that brain. So if we could come together, and one of the things that I thought was the most interesting thing on her channel was who you partner up with is going to make or break your life. Because if you partner with someone like yourself without a kind of tether, you are going to be all over the place, and you're not going to have anyone to bounce something off of, because they're also going to think, you're going to start 7 projects and finish none of them. And now you're going to be with someone who starts 7 projects. Now you're going to have combined 14
See,
projects.
I like to start projects, but I also like to finish them. And I feel like, I mean, I do get bored with it. I'm like, oh, like when I decided I was going to paint the bathroom, I'm like, when I was thinking about painting the bathroom, I was like, oh, it'll be so easy. I was just thinking about rolling the walls. I wasn't thinking about cutting it in.
Yeah.
And I was like, ugh. So I don't.
And I can handle cutting in and I can handle rolling. What I don't like is taping stuff off.
Oh, yeah. I freaking hate taping.
So there have been times I've bought, there's a specific thing that acts as a line.
Yes.
So you don't have to tape. And it works well sometimes, but only if you're really patient.
Right. Because you have to kind of hold it as you go along with it. And then if you get too much paint, it drips underneath it.
Yes.
So then I'm like, okay, I'm just going to start out really gentle, get a little bit of paint, and then if you get the sloped paintbrush, that helps. You get that to
Angled.
a point. Yes. But then I'm like, you know what? If I do it wrong, then, that's a perfect opportunity for crown molding. I think every room should have crown molding.
Which needs to be painted.
Yes.
And so what's really
But
funny
you could spray that. Like, you could put those
Yes.
out on boards and stuff and, like, just
Spray
wipe it
'em.
and then put it up. Put the caulk stuff in the holes, the wood filler in the holes, and then you just are lightly brushing it.
Yeah.
So,
that's
see, it's
true.
problem solved.
But then when you go to paint it again, you're going to have crown molding that you're going to have to go around.
Why would I have to paint my crown molding again?
No, but now you have a new line to go up against. That is crown molding.
Well, no, if you paint the wall first.
Yes, but you'll
And
never
then-
change the paint again.
Maybe.
Because now you have crown molding. But what's really funny is we were in my condo and I thought, oh, if I don't have any renters in here maybe I should paint. And then I was like, maybe I should buy some paint. And then I was like, stop it. You're not here for painting.
Right, we're on
You're here to
vacation.
get renters this back up and running.
Well, if we had decided, if we had told the boys we're not coming home, then we probably would have had to do some kind of, like,
Renovation.
something to say that justify. Actually, not really.
Well, it's really funny because in my head, I thought if I'm here another week, I'm going to be painting, and I don't need to be painting because I'm going to start a project that I
Yes.
have to finish.
Yes.
Because I'm going to get on a plane. But that's the part of my brain that feels like I have to do something. What do you mean I don't have renters in here?
Yeah.
This is a rental for me. That's how I pay my bills. And if it's not going to be a rental, then in my head, I couldn't just wait until the renter showed up.
But you're
In
a
my head-
producer, so you're a very productive person, and you think that you think that way.
So when you were in high school, what did your guidance counselor want you to be? Because did you have guidance counselors?
We
in your
did.
school?
We did have a guidance counselor, and I don't actually know if I met him. I kind of try to avoid.
So you weren't talking all the time in high school about what you were doing with the rest of your life, like at my school?
We took an assessment. I think we took an assessment, and there was gosh, I don't even remember.
So that's interesting. I was really good at math and sciences.
Yeah, I was not good at math. I'm still
And
not good at math.
My guidance counselor wanted me to be an accountant, and I thought there's nothing I would like to do less than sit still at a desk
Yeah.
and punch in numbers to a
Yeah.
computer. Nothing. Not one thing.
Yeah, I don't like organizing and putting numbers together. But I did do really good in my accounting class, and he said, you should do this. I'm like, no. I think it was like lawyer, nursing, I don't know, truck driver. I don't know what it was. I'd be a truck driver.
So when I said I wanted to go into aviation, it was because there was, even in air traffic, you're 4 hours under, and then you're 4 hours in the tower.
Yeah.
It was a breakup of the day.
Yeah.
You didn't have time to be bored. You were always, you were always. So that's why I thought that matched my personality. And then when that wasn't working and I was working in offices, I thought I just want to hang myself. This is the worst way
Yeah.
to spend a day. Getting up, sitting in traffic, rushing to get out of the house, to sit in traffic, to go into an office, to come
Yes.
sit in a car on the way home.
Yes.
That time period was like uninspiring.
Yeah.
In the worst way possible. So when I became a realtor, and sometimes you're by the computer, and sometimes you're out, and sometimes you're in the office, and you're going.
Yes,
that
you're always
fit my
moving and
personality
yes,
more.
yeah.
And it was always different. Sometimes it's commercial space, sometimes it's a house, sometimes it's a condo, sometimes it's rentals, sometimes it's purchase, and the market is always changing enough that it's never the same exact thing. So I landed into a career that fit that. I'm never doing the same thing every single day. Even finding, right now I have a couple of properties and I'm dialing down who is the correct buyer for this and how do I target them the best financially with my advertising dollars. So it's another
Strategy.
it's strategy, it's all of that stuff. But if you, if you looked at my grades, it was, I should definitely be in the math and sciences. Now I do have a component of math to my job, and especially when I was in property management, I had a huge math component, but that was always the part of my job that I hated. I just wanted someone else to do it. I just didn't trust someone else to do it. So that was its own problem. But when I think of, you have a 22-year-old kid, they went to college for one thing, and now they're coming out and say they are like, wow, I went to college for this thing that I don't really, now that I'm in the world of that, I don't really like. I think we should evaluate, what is best for your skill set. I think we should all work on our strengths, come from our strengths and work with our strengths, because always making people do what they're bad at just makes everyone miserable.
Well, but it goes back. It goes back to the whole thing. I think that we should take in our school systems. We should start, and even starting at home, focusing on like raising children to be, who do you want to be? Who do you want to be? Not what do you want to be? And I think that finding out, like even taking those tests, that we were talking about, to find out how your brain works. If we start those out, and then we can start actually catering our education to, like, this person is going to be, this is more artistic, so they don't need as much math. They can give them these. So your education,
or the math you're giving them is geometry,
right?
Where that makes that 3-dimensional thing will start making sense to that type of brain,
right? So we're educating based upon our skill sets, our skill sets, and so our strengths and
I
our
think
weaknesses.
we should teach everyone about balancing a checkbook.
Well, so when
money.
So when my kids were,
we do have someone coming on. So we have a couple of guests in the month of November, and then we'll jump back. But we have the clothing boutique in Manchester that just opened, Peridot. Or Peridot, I don't know. We'll have to ask them.
Peridot.
Then we have a gentleman from the Jumpstart initiative that teaches children about money.
Yes.
They're coming on. And then we're having Drew Dunn, the comedian. He opened recently for Dane Cook, and he has a special on the Saturday after Thanksgiving at the Nashua Center for the Arts. That comedian is coming on that Friday.
That's going to be fun.
After Thanksgiving.
Special edition Friday.
Yes, so we have a lot of fun guests, but go on.
What was I saying?
We were talking about finances. I was saying that we should teach children finances in school.
So I was drawing blood on a lady who is one of the admins at UNH, and this was 5 years ago, 6 years ago now, and she was talking about how many, back then, there was like 40% of kids that go into are undeclared. They don't know what they're going to do, or a lot of times, and she said a lot of times the ones that are declared end up switching. And she's like 66% of college graduates don't end up being in the field that they got their degree in.
And I wonder how many people actually don't do a job that was what their career, their graduation, what they graduated with.
Because it's like we're told, like, hello, like, this is what we've been told to do. Like, oh, I want to do this or I want to do this. You don't think
Or you're required to make a decision when you don't even know what your options are.
Right.
And it's a lot of money to put someone through college. College is really expensive when you don't even know what you like. So I didn't know I liked psychology as much as I was required to take a psychology course. And then I thought, if I wasn't going into aviation, I would go into psychology. I just found that fascinating.
Well, I just don't give any options to explore, I think. It's just like, it's like, okay, we got to pick something. Here's all the things that you've been exposed to.
So say you have a kid who's 20-something years old, they come out of school, and they realize that they were educated in something that they actually don't like doing the job. How would you help them? What would be your advice to help them?
Explore. Go. Your 20s. In your 20s, there is no other time in your life that you are as free as you are in your 20s, is how I feel. You should go. move to Tahiti, work in a dive shop, go work in a, go down to Florida, help with a disaster relief, or just go and put yourself out there. Go out to, go out west. Go explore. Go get a part-time job and see a new area. Like, just explore. You don't have obligations. You don't have responsibilities. You don't have to be anything other than you.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we forget that.
Mm.
I mean, even now, sometimes I forget to be me.
Yeah, so we met a company called PuroClean.
Oh, yes.
So we went on a pirate ship as part of our fun activity in the disaster area, and there was a disaster cleanup crew. They do the mold remediation and all of that stuff. And he was taking his entire crew from New Jersey down to Florida. They were working, and he was taking them out on this pirate ship as part of his thank you for everyone working on
and that
time.
guy Tom said he does this every week.
Yes.
He does something for them every week.
We were saying, hey, if you didn't know what to do, you could come down. They need bodies like you wouldn't believe, to go and try something new with new people.
Yeah.
All at the same time doing something. If you had no idea what you wanted to do, they made decent money.
Yeah.
But they do have to travel because
he
they're
didn't put any
traveling
numbers down, but I mean, their expenses are paid, their food is paid, like their travel is paid, like everything is paid on top of
Their
getting
salary.
a good chunk of change.
Yeah.
But
But they and whether you liked that job or not permanently, you could try it and make a little bit of money and go travel and see some places if you were unhappy. So we were saying, oh, wouldn't that be cool if you didn't know what to do with yourself? Well, at least you're meeting people, you're seeing a new place, and you're working on something that's useful. You're helping clean up an area that's been hit by a disaster.
I would say do something. Do something. Do anything. Explore. Go work at a golf course. If you like golf, go work at a golf course. And, even the people that you meet, the connections that you make on the golf course,
Because you don't know what other opportunities there are until you're in there.
Right. Just put yourself in the arena.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would say.
And how would you help diagnose if they're like, okay, I'm going to go work in an accounting office and they have a neurodivergent brain? I wonder if there's a test or assessment that says how well you work, because
there has to be.
Neurodivergent people are very creative
Yes.
problem solvers, which is very useful, but not necessarily in a job that requires the same answer to a problem all the time.
Right.
Engineering.
So I think that if you break
For
it down
example.
and organize, so that's what helps me. And I think that's why
So one of the things
how I've
this
become
woman,
efficient.
Yeah, one of the things that this woman was saying was a lot of times people with neurodivergent brains, they don't know how to enter a problem because the entry point to the problem is where
Yes.
they struggle. So that's where overwhelm and procrastination comes in, is
Yes.
because I don't know what to do. I don't know how to start this project. She said she was coaching someone and they said, write a book. And she's like, that's not a line item of a to-do list,
Right.
because there was a million things that go into writing a book. And the line item of writing a book is not getting you any closer to writing a book.
Right.
You need the entry point, an entryway into starting to work on the
Yes.
tasks. But that's one of the things that neurodivergent people have a difficult time with, is breaking down big projects
Yes.
into smaller projects.
I think a lot of times the hardest thing is finding the starting point.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, we were talking about books and talking about writing a book, and 2 years ago, Chris is like, you should write a book. You should write a book. It was more mostly about what I've been learning. But I'm like, I don't know how to start. I don't know how to organize my thoughts. I don't know. And I'm like, you should write it. I should say it. You should write it. Because you have that skill of organizing it. I'm like, I feel like I have tons of great ideas.
So I would say
But
for
that
you, for
starting
someone
point.
like you, I would write in scenes. So, and then you take all of the scenes and see where there's the arc of the story afterwards. But, an idea is, if it's nonfiction, it's going to be the idea of whatever thing you're learning.
Right.
How to make a meal, right? So you write the scene of how to make the meal. Well, you have to have an idea of what you're going to make.
Right.
You have to have a recipe. You have to have the ingredients. So that involves going to the supermarket, and
Right.
you write out the scene. If it's fiction, you start out with either a character or an idea of something happening. And then I think even for fiction, I read visually. So when I'm reading, the horse gallop down the street,
I'm seeing it.
I am seeing a horse's hooves go up.
Yes.
So I'm also trying to translate a scene, reverse it into words on
Yes.
the page. And that's why sometimes at first it's coming out chaotic because it's the visual, and then you have to formulate the visual to be back into words.
Yeah, you just tweak it.
Mm-hmm.
Tweak it. Yeah.
But
I watched you do that when we were at the airport.
Yeah.
Like just being able to say, oh, what about this? And I think actually having somebody to give you feedback, I think helps you just to be able to bounce things off of. Somebody that's not trying to.
But not having a person who doesn't have the brain you have, or you do need the person who doesn't have the brain you have to help
Yes.
you break it down. I think we have labeled ADD and ADHD so almost like a mental disorder
Yeah.
instead of as a different creation of the same thing.
Right. Because it's outside of what we've created to be norm. So that is our normal.
Yes. So for people who, like I had a teacher, Mr. Guazalaka, I love him. I talk about him all the time. He understood that we do better in school if we run around before school starts. So we have a recess in the middle of the day,
Right.
but we didn't have the beginning of the day. So he would set up basketball and football. So you would, if you wanted to, you weren't required, but you would come a half an hour earlier, and then you would run around like a lunatic in the gym, and then you would sit down a little sweaty, but you could sit down
Yeah.
after you got that out.
Yeah.
And then we would do something at recess at lunch, and then he would also have an after school program where if you didn't, you could come to both or only one. But it was understanding that, just giving some people, I'm sure, need Ritalin and need for focus and all of that other stuff. But sometimes it's just expounding an amount
Yes.
of energy, or
Releasing that energy.
I can work, if I'm in flow, I can work for very long periods of time without moving. If I'm in
Yes.
the middle of doing something I really
Yes.
want to do. But if I'm doing something I don't like doing, after an hour I have to get up and move around.
Yes.
So understanding that about myself, like if I'm doing,
But I think that's we should incorporate more movement in our classrooms too, because there was, when my kids were little, there was even a study about how much energy boys need to move at that young age versus girls need to move that age. And I was lucky. Their kindergarten teacher and their first grade teacher, they were all about movement, and she's like, they just learn better because they can get that energy out and they're not wiggly in their seats and all that stuff. And it's not that they don't want to, listen. It's just that you got energy and your body needs to move.
yeah. And I think we have overused the word anxiety to label energy in our body.
Yeah.
That's going to be if I could explain to somebody, because I can't tell you how many times I've used it for myself. Oh, I'm anxious. And then I'm like, am I really anxious? And then I'm like, no, I just want to move. Why do I
Yeah.
want to move? I'm bored.
Yeah.
Or why do I want to move? I haven't moved in a while and I'm sleepy.
Yeah.
So if I feel, but that feeling that the cells are bouncing around, sometimes I get that when I'm excited.
Yeah.
Well, and then I
if
could
I can't
almost
move,
say anxiousness.
yeah, I think when I can't move, it comes out in my voice.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "What?" Chris would say, "Why are you getting so upset?" And I'm like, "I'm not upset. I'm passionate. I feel it. If I were allowed to move, I probably would be. My voice would still remain, because I'm like, I'm not upset.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Because I'm passionate about what I believe. What I believe in. And so if I feel like if I can move, then I feel like my voice doesn't have to raise. And I also know, like, if I can't move my hands,
Yes.
I can't speak as fluently.
Right. If I'm required to be, when I'm trying to be really still, because I will whack the microphone, I will hold on and move up and down this, and then I can keep my arm from doing it. But when I'm in the throes of it, my arms are moving. I'm knocking over drinks, smacking somebody walking by me, accidentally.
Oh my gosh, we were at Panucci's one time in Keene years ago, and I was dancing. I think it was like YMCA or something, and I went to move out Y, and I ripped the glasses off of this girl's face beside me.
I'm so sorry. A cat clawed
I'm
your
so
face
sorry.
off. But back to the question of who would you be or what would you do if no one was watching? Because I think there's a paralyzing component of, well, if I try this and it doesn't work, then everyone's going to know I failed. If I move to this location and it doesn't work, everyone's going to be like, see, you thought it was going to be so great over there. If I'm trying something and I'm deciding that, oh, wow, that was not what I thought it was going to be, so I stop. I think we are practiced performing life. And I think that's a component of, before we used to think God watched us.
Well, do you think that we
Now with social media watches
But do you think
us.
that we do that because we aren't truly our authentic self because we are afraid of rejection?
Most, or not good enough, absolutely. Being rejected sucks. So,
Yeah,
Chris was talking about this in a job. When we were talking about jobs we had when we were younger yesterday.
Oh yeah, getting a lot of no's, sales.
He said, wow, the rejection.
Yeah.
And I've learned that in a sales position, what you're learning is to listen to people's objections. So then you always have practice at hearing objections. Then you hear the same objection, and then you can develop a response to it. So the faster you can get through as many rejections as you can get through, you have honed your the obstacle. And either the obstacle is overcome, you can overcome it, or the obstacle is not something you can overcome. But it gives you, if you just identify it as information instead of rejection. So no is an awful word. No one wants to hear no.
Right.
But if you don't take the no, if you understand that the no has nothing to do with you as a person.
Right.
And you understand that it is an objection.
Right.
To this person moving forward in this way about this thing.
Right.
And then you would go, okay, so the objection is I don't have enough money. Because what I joke around about all the time is someone was telling me they were a pharmaceutical salesperson and that they don't hear no. Like they don't have, then they wanted to switch to a job in which they were going to hear no as a salesperson. And what I was explaining was you've never heard no.
Right.
You are giving away drugs. You are giving away, it's in an environment where they need this new drug.
Right.
You are less of a salesperson than the salesperson who hears no. When you're selling shoes, you're selling a $30 to $300 product versus selling a $399,000 product.
Right.
Right. So one of the things you're going to hear all the time for a salesperson is I can't afford.
Right.
Or I don't want to spend my money on that. Or you're going to hear the objection, and what you do is there's going to be 6 different types of rejections or objections.
Right.
And now you're going to have, and then you're going to practice in all your no's. Let's see if this objection, but then what ends up becoming, your conversations don't become rejection. They become a conversation to learn where this person is. And is this person the right person for this?
Well, I think also getting a lot of no's can help you learn how to communicate better.
Absolutely.
More effectively.
And then you can harness, you learn what works well, and then you learn what works well for a certain type of person. You start talking to people and you think, okay, this person is going to have an objection to every positive thing that I say.
Yeah.
They're going to have an objection because now it becomes a personality thing.
Well, it's always, when he was speaking on stages, and a lot of people, like, one of the things I had reminding, like, you're losing people, like, know your audience.
Yes.
When you're talking to your kids, when you're talking to the people at the grocery store, you're talking to people in business, if we can get still and get out of our own way and not take the no personal, but we're looking at it from, like, who is this person? Who am I speaking to? I think that we should try to go into every situation knowing who your audience is.
Yes. Yeah,
Even
absolutely.
the interaction at your waitress your waiter. I think that we always try to make it all about us. Our life, and our life is all about us.
Right.
But I also think our circumstances and our experiences are kind of it's something that we're struggling with. It's just it's reflecting back to us.
Yeah, and you've met a person who wants to get what they want, but they will not start the conversation in a way that makes somebody want to help them.
Yes.
They start from, sometimes asking for help, even though you might know what the answer is that would help you. But if you're going to I'm going to tell you what you
Right.
need to give me so that I'm helped.
Right.
You're going to be like, I don't even care if I help you.
Right.
But if you feel that I have a problem that you might be able to solve, if I come at it from that direction, you may be like, oh, wait a minute, I can help you. And now all of a sudden,
Yes.
I'm getting what I want.
Yes.
Even though I knew what that was at the beginning, I might have to go through the dance of making you come up with some ideas, and maybe your ideas are better than my
it's
ideas.
it's being open to speak someone else's language, and it's not just pushing your own agenda. That's how I feel.
Because I know I'll forget that sometimes when I'm like, I know how to fix this problem. Then I go and tell them, and then they tell me how it's not going to work. And then I go, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we have to go through the whole rigmarole of, well, what can we do? Because then I'm like,
Yes.
oh, yeah, I'm hearing a no.
You have
Right?
to, or either that you have to prep them for it to be their idea.
Yeah. And, well, we could do this or we could do this. And it's like, oh, okay. And then we come right back to, and then, there's the part of you that wants to say, well, now we're just one step over from the thing I said at the beginning. What we had to take 45 minutes to get here.
Yes.
Yes, because we weren't going there the
so-
first 5 minutes.
But I also think that the reason why we are different, I don't know why I keep saying that word, like we're hiding in the dark. Like we are not always who we are at home or behind closed doors versus, do you think that some of it's shame?
A lot of it is shame. A lot of it is not feeling good enough. And in our most personal relationships, so to me, rejection isn't a big deal out in the world because this doesn't reflect upon me. But in a one-on-one relationship, rejection is an unbelievably huge deal.
Yes.
Because I have some connection to you, and now I am not good enough, or there's some component of hearing a rejection from somebody I want something from. Personally.
Yes. But I think too, so I you're right. But I think shame is something that you put on. Shame is something that we decide. So you can say something to me and it might hit a wound in me. And that makes me feel shame. But
Well,
I don't think that you didn't say it. So if I'm speaking, if I know my audience, like I know that you didn't say something to make me feel shamed. It's something that I have baggage with that, or I have history
Yes.
with that. But now we deflect instead of healing ourselves. Now we've deflected like, well, you made me feel shame.
Right.
You've rejected me.
Most of the time you don't even know that this person has triggered that, but you feel so viscerally whatever that you're going to argue
Yes.
because having anger is easier than feeling ashamed.
Right. And blaming someone else for,
Yeah.
It means you're hearing it through your wounded ego. You're hearing it through your trauma.
Well, it's almost like the words are bouncing off all your scars,
Yes.
right? And so you feel it so
You
much
feel like
more.
somebody's digging at your wound.
Yeah, it's like, get off my nerve.
Like I thought I healed that.
You're on my nerves.
Yes. You're on that last nerve. Well, but instead of all of a sudden we blame, and now we have an external.
Well, because we
have
don't have to look at what in ourselves is feeling so
Right.
ashamed. So think of like,
Well, that's why I was like, ask ourselves those questions. Why does this upset me?
And
Like,
it's-
why am I feeling shame?
And it's hard to do that in the moment because when you're doing it with someone, you need time to pause to go into it. But now you have another person in this conversation not waiting for you to pause.
Yes.
Right. Maybe they're in battle too.
We're in court now, buddy.
we're in a scene,
We're rapid fire.
So yeah, I do think I've probably said this a dozen times on this show. I'm not looking to transform into somebody else. I just want to continue to be more and more myself.
Yes.
As I
Yes.
get older. I see a lot of these coaches and all of these things online where people are telling you whatever. Sometimes I feel like it's in platitudes. And I think I don't want to be somebody else. I just want to be me.
Yes.
I just want to be which sounds kind of lofty. Like,
not.
are you so great that you need to be you more? But maybe I think ultimately I'm kind and I'm generous and I'm
Funny,
loving and I'm
smart, curious, adventurous.
If I could be more
lovable.
of that without hangry, defensive, I can be really defensive.
But actually, if you think about it, in one great book is the Four Agreements. They talk about we can't feel shame unless we allow it. We can't feel rejection. And rejection is hard, but knowing that it's
instead of I'm not good enough, because rejection comes down to I'm not good enough, when it should be this isn't I'm not for them.
Yes,
Which
this is not a good fit.
Which is almost like a blessing.
Yes.
I remember
it's not a good fit.
I thought we were starting a friendship. It was my spouse and I, and there was another couple spouse. It was like, oh, to have a good couple spouse friendship, that would be great. And then something happened, and I was so misinterpreted. And at first, I was defending, because the first thing I will do is defend myself.
Yes.
And that is a childhood long traumatic thing, right? That I've practiced the last 50 years. Right? I've taken that with me. I've taken my armor and my shield.
You mean 21 plus 21 plus 9?
Yeah, 21 plus 21 plus 9. Plus 2, because I'm a little bit older than you. We got some more math in there. That's not quite right. Plus 1. Wait a minute. I'm older than you by a year, right?
Yes.
Yes. I'm older than you by. But you did have a birthday. So are we the same age again?
I'm 51.
Okay, so I'm a year older than you.
So
21 plus 21 plus 10. You're 21 plus 21 plus 9. And you didn't think there was math involved, but there's... I'm 21 plus 21 plus 10. But I do get defensive. So in my defending my position, what I have to remember is, and this is where it gets tough, is sometimes I'm defending something wrong because you've misinterpreted what I've said.
Yes.
Or you've misinterpreted what I've done.
Yes.
But now I'm so defending the wall that now I'm defending something that I'm not even really wanting to defend.
Well, we hear, yes. What's funny, we hear through our own ears.
Yes.
We hear through our own experiences. So if we have, bad experiences, of course we're going to see it through those lenses. We don't have the ability to hear exactly.
And it's because for the longest time, I was always told I was wrong. So I
Yes.
was always having to defend
Yes.
this thing. And that's where really listening, don't defend. You have nothing to defend. But it's impossible to feel at the time because the wounds are touched or something's being touched.
Well, but how many times are we listening to
deflection.
somebody, like, and say even an intimate relationship, how many times are you listening to your wife or your husband tell you how they feel, and they say to you, well, I didn't mean it that way, or I wasn't trying to hurt your feelings, or I wasn't trying to say that, or I wasn't doing this, or even turning around and like, why are you attacking me like that? I'm trying to tell you my experience. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to tell you, but we can't get our own self out of the light. Why are you being so mean? I'm not being mean. Mm-hmm. I'm a little bit frustrated because of this, or this, or this is how.
But are we mean?
This hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
The way that you treated me hurt my feelings.
Yes.
So I can't help it that you're the one who did it, but it's my experience. So we don't separate ourselves and say, wow, what I said to him was really, I could see where we're not pausing to see it through their eyes, to see it through their lens, to say, oh, that could have been harsh.
And I think we also think at any moment we're feeling something or doing something or interpreting something. And that's why I say sometimes I'll say something, not really exactly what I meant, but then when I'm held to that, but you said.
Yes.
And I,
yep, you've misconstrued that for the last 9 years, but okay.
But it's like, oh yeah, I did say that wrong. Let me correct myself. And it's like, no, because you said it, you must have felt it. Like
Right.
You do that whole thing, and then you're like, that's not going to go
well,
anywhere.
because that person wants to hold on to to the hurt.
Because they know that they had you as wrong.
Yes.
So like one of the
Yes.
things I think of as a child or in childhood and teenage and people saying, you're strong, you can handle this. And then I remember thinking, okay, I can just take more abuse. I can take more whatever. And then hearing from a therapist of like, well, that's what somebody would say who's abusing you.
Right.
You don't have to be strong. You can just leave.
Right.
You don't have to, if this person is only going to treat you in this way, you can, and that turned into like exercising a muscle of, hey, we're not going to talk about this at this, we're going to meet, we're going to have dinner, we're not talking about this.
Right.
And every time you talk about it, I'm just going to get up and leave. And we're going to have 7 started dinners in which I leave. And then on that 8th dinner, we're not going to talk about the thing.
Mm.
But sometimes it's like untraining people to do something.
True.
And that's all about boundaries. And how to, sometimes I'm a bad boundary holder. And what happens is I let you cross a boundary that I tell you can't cross. And then one day I'll get angry and resentful and you'll have no idea why, because it's not even about the boundary anymore.
Right.
And all of a sudden now I'm like hysterical about something that has no bearing on anything, but because I've been so beyond a boundary, and now I feel in a corner, and now I'm feeling strangled in a corner or suffocated in a corner or caged or something, and that's a problem that I had during that time period where I would say you can't treat me this way. And as you continue to treat me this way, I would just continue to take it because I had no way of holding you to another thing. And that's when I learned that you do whatever you have to do to survive. You might not be around people who know how to love you the best way. You might be born into a family that doesn't know how to love you the correct way.
I think that's why it's important to learn how to love you.
Or you might be with someone who's dealing with addiction or a dependency, and that's clouding. You're trying to live off of this one particular thing, but this person's living a different reality.
Yes.
And now sometimes the best thing is to step away, because the only way I can hold my lines, because I can just I can also chase you down the street, in our 2 crazy costumes of crazy and lunatic, where we're both going to be medicated at this, and only technically you need to be medicated.
Right.
Well, or maybe I need to be medicated.
I think that we relax our boundaries. I think we relax our boundaries because we care about people and we want to try to be something for someone that they need. And sometimes it just goes against it. And what ends up happening is an argument. And I think about it where, take couples where, women like to build family, more, and not to say that men don't, but you think entrepreneurs or business builders.
Well, we only survive with a group. We don't survive on our own.
But the thing is, it's never looked at from the different perspective of, look at it this way, that you've spent so much time and you've got your family supporting you, building your business. And so they've put their dream on hold, or they think that, say that this person wants, part of their dream is to have a close-knit, amazing family. And this person wants to have a big business, a great business. So she doesn't work. She spends her energy, helping and supporting and encouraging this. But then when they come home, they're a turd. They're mean. They're not. So you've been helping this person, and this person has been taking it, and they don't see like, hey, this person wanted a romantic spouse. This person wanted friendship. This person wanted comfort at night. This person wanted a great dad to their kids, or, whatever. We sacrifice all of those things, and you don't realize, like, hey, there's 2 people in a relationship that you're building. Why can't they both be building their dream together?
Right, because they're on parallel tracks. Their dream is not, the person building the business is saying, I am building this business so my family
Right.
has money, a roof over their head, food, and the dream, their things that cost money. So this person who's building a business is, in their translation, this is how I help my family.
Right.
Right. And the person who's building the family is saying, I am doing everything so that this is functioning properly, and so that this person can go out into their business and not have a thing to worry about, so that they can take care of that okay.
Right.
If each person sees that each person is doing the thing that they are doing for each other,
Right.
but if each person says, I'm doing this for you, and the other person goes, no, you're not.
Right.
Now you have, instead of parallel lines working so that a train could be
Right.
stuck on top of it as the foundation, now you're both going, you're going to the D line and you're going to the C line.
Right.
And now you've got no train on top of your foundation, on your rails. You know?
I'm going to the coast and you're going to Dedham.
Nor shall our trains meet.
But it's true. It's like, we spend so much time thinking like, well, my partner's not showing up for me. How many times are we
Showing up for our partners.
Can't pause and say, hey, wait, I'm not showing up for my partner.
That's always about giving the person you love the benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
Thank you for staying tuned to Lisa and Robyn on WSMN 1590
We should pick that up next week.
Yes, 1590 AM, 95.3 FM. We are here every Thursday, 10 to noon. Have a great week.
WSMN 1590, WSMN 95.3 FM Nashua. Listen, watch, and stream at WSMN.com.